Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that has supported me so far and to the new subscribers. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for this channel. Let's begin. Our next meeting was 2 weeks away, but neither of us was sure whether he would be there. In the meantime, we stopped telling his boss and I dealt with slowly increasing pressure from above at work. Our numbers were up. Why were they giving me shit? I protected my men as best I could, until the day of the next meeting came. This time we were on a balcony at a second-story bar downtown. It was dark and loud, and nobody would remember us. Fine, Jake told us, still sulking. You were right. There's a bastard for each factory. It's not his fault. Hell, they chose him because he was that way. We can't take it out on him. We both sighed. Awesome. Let's be done with this horrible misadventure. Oh, it's not over, he retorted. I went to bat for both of you, and we are stuck in this until it's even. Tom clutched his margarita close. But then what do you want us to do? All this started with the current CEO, he told us, his fists clenched. I want you to attack Rich Asshole instead. I wasn't having it. Are you serious? He's probably got a security system, a big house, maybe even bodyguards. Tom, too, thought it was a bad idea. It'll draw a ton of attention. Nobody cares about poor people, remember? But they'll investigate the death of a rich person for years. Not this one, Jake countered. Trust me. It'll take months to do the legwork. I complained. I can't keep slipping off from work that long. Eventually, someone will notice. Jake shook his head. No, I spent the last 2 weeks figuring it out myself. He's already here. Tom and I looked at each other in surprise, and then at the target of Jake's focused gaze, at the far end of the hip downtown bar, a pepper-haired older man sat, his arm around a thin young blonde girl that looked like she'd gotten in here with a fake ID. Turning back, I asked, "What the hell is this?" "This is so stupid," Tom added fearfully. "We're gonna get caught if we do it like this." Jake shook his head again. "I've got all the tools we need in my car down the street. We just hang out, have a good time, and follow him when he takes that girl back to wherever. We make it look like a mugging, and that's that. Nothing to investigate." "And you're coming with us?" I asked, surprised. "We were supposed to take turns." "Fuck it," he muttered. "This is big game now. It's all in. I'm doing this." He ground his teeth for a moment. "And if you don't help me, I'll turn you both in." "Whoa!" Tom and I both replied, our hands up and out in a diplomatic pause. Fine. I wasn't that surprised. I'd more or less expected a last-minute power play like that. The only saving grace was that it looked like Jake had actually thought it all through. We sipped beers for several hours while Rich Asshole tooled around with his date and her gorgeous friends. He even danced for a bit on the floor. Come on, man. Have some respect. Or, of course, he wouldn't care. The world was his. He might even have owned the bar itself. That thought stunned me. I was one of the slaves, used to other people that went to places, rather than own them. The concept of owning an entire establishment shocked me to my core. When I really tried to process it, I literally owned nothing. My place could be taken away at any time, whether I made my monthly payment or not. Same as my car. And I lived in a constant servitude to afford those meager necessities. This guy had final say over buildings and bars. The whole idea was insane. By the time he finally left with his date, my fury, it likely matched Jake's. The three of us headed on down quickly, got our tools out of Jake's trunk, and caught up to Rich Asshole in an alley. He was drunk, and headed toward his car in a parking garage up ahead. The angles were such that this was as good a place as any. We maintained drunken laughter and conversation right up until we were hitting him with pipes that we had hidden up our sleeves. His date leapt away, but remained frozen in shock, And you know what? Our laughter and conversation continued. Did you see that one bartender? I asked Tom as I struck down at Rich Asshole's bleeding forehead. Oh man, was she gorgeous, Tom replied, hitting the man's shaking legs. You guys are nuts, Jake said, cracking his ribs. She was an 8 at best. Beside us, his date slowly came back to her senses as she watched us beat him, and she came over, spit on him, and began kicking his unmoving body. Asshole! We shared a surprised, genuine laugh at that. She bent down carefully, pulled out his wallet, and ran off as quickly as her high heels would allow. And then we were walking, a few quick wipes, a few visual scans of each other, and we were clear of obvious blood. The pipes we slid back up our sleeves until we reached the car, and then we went home, burned those clothes, buried everything that needed to be buried, and went our separate ways. That was the first murder that I felt literally no guilt over. In fact, it felt like a tremendous victory. I'd managed to spare Callous Bastard's life in exchange for that of a royal asshole whose own date had despised him. As far as we could tell, the police chalked it up to be a mugging gone wrong, like we'd hoped. And over the next few weeks, I watched for the news of Jake's company. The new CEO promised to do things differently, and many managers and corrupt practices were rooted out. Callous Bastard himself was out of the picture soon after. It was a win for everyone. The problem with that kind of victory, though, is that you can never erase the memory of it. At work, at home, when things go wrong, you always remember that there's a viable ace in the hole if you really need it. Pressure on me from above at my company increased as the months wore on, and I thought often of the single remaining meeting the three of us had planned. 1 year from the last of our 3 murders, we were to meet 4 states over in a rundown bar in a highway exit town with a population of 500. This last meeting was supposed to be for comparing notes and handling any lingering problems, but as the full year approached its end, I was surprised to find myself hoping for a little bit more than that.